All right, good to see, good to be. It is I, DillyDave, also known as the Milky Bar Kid. This is another episode of Grounded with DillyDave. We are at Brick Lane Brewery, and today we are joined by the soulful, the articulate, the well-connected, and the vibe pusher herself, Queen Rhiii. Queen Rhiii, welcome so much to Grounded today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very good. A lot of the co-producers are being hilarious as always. Shout out to Porsche and Atlas on the ones and twos in the background. Before we get into really what the podcast is, an obvious way to get grounded is to acknowledge the sacred ground that we're on. So I'd like to, acknowledge that we're on the traditional lands of the Boonwurrung and the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. They're the traditional custodians, not owners of the land, the traditional custodians. They dealt with the land and what we have in a different way, and I think it's very important for us to continue to remember what was and how things were as we move forward telling our own stories. So I'd like to pay respects to our elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded, no treaties signed, and that's where we are today. So here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. You always need a little breath after that, Got to feel where the wood is, where the real and the unreal is. Like this plant, for example.
Yeah.
Real or unreal?
Very plastic.
So plastic. And what is that about? No, let's not get into the plastics of it today. All right. So, Rhiannon, you're probably wondering, why'd you have me on? Like, what's this all about? Like, do we know each other? Like, what's going on? And I'm very happy to address that. So
thank you.
I like having my eyes on the scene, and seeing people do their thing when we're out and about. And you continuously pop up in so many spots, whether it's Shot Kickers or Ringo Bar or so many different places where you are out doing your thing. So I just want to let you know that I see you doing the thing, and it's great.
Thank you.
So for me, I'd really like to know what the origin of some of this is, like what was the lead up to where you are now. So I guess what got you started with your creative endeavors?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking, and thank you for having me here. I think when I was young, I think it was just maybe before I got into high school, my mum was like, you can sing. And I had no idea, no awareness. I think I probably just did my thing, And she's like, go to choir. So I went to choir, did some singing lessons at school.
Yeah.
And
choir inside of school, or
choir inside of school, and then quickly realized that I have a voice.
You're a superstar.
Yeah, what can I say? Yeah. Then got lead roles for things, or solos and whatnot, and did music outside of school at another small music school, and then got some vocal training for maybe 3 or 4 years.
Cool.
It's been about 10 years since that.
Right.
And in that meantime, I've experimented with sound in different ways. I've done sound healings. I've always written poetry since I was young as well, so I think that writing has come very naturally to me. And has refined over the years to get me to the point I am now as well.
Because I guess some people have an easy journey with maybe the voice, but maybe not so much the writing.
Yeah.
So that's good that you were into that at an early age. With the choir stuff, and when you were starting to do singing lessons, did you have a big idea or a vision or a thing that you were kind of pulling yourself towards, or you were just I'm in the moment, I'm enjoying this is engaging, let's do it?
Yeah, I was just doing it because I loved music, and I enjoyed singing with the group as well. It was a new experience that hadn't had before. So
was there a moment when you were like, this is it, there's no way I'm doing anything else? Were there a number of those kind of moments along the way?
Honestly, I feel like that ball has only recently dropped for me.
Where it's this is the clear path forward?
Yeah, like music was a very big part of my life when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know, I eventually ended up doing weddings and like events and competitions when I was younger as well,
Cool.
which I would do weekly, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think I had that mindset of like where I really wanted to take it or where I wanted it to go. I was just in it.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas now I feel like, okay, I feel like I have a different kind of like grasp, not only on my music, but of myself to understand where I want it to go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Where it's like, I think it makes a lot of sense when, you know, trying to put together yourself before you can find that way forward. Like it takes to have a clear direction, you know, in life. You really have to figure out where and who you are in that moment, you know, to kind of gather things and figure out where to go. I don't think that like when you're, yeah, that's like it's a very conscious decision trying to point yourself in a direction, right?
Yeah. 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 And I think that I loved doing it, and it was something that, yeah, I just did because it was just something that I was doing and that I was good at as well. And I had really beautiful pivotal moments where people were like, don't ever stop singing. Like I would have people,
Right.
like I'd have like grown men like in tears crying, listening to me, like, and just, yeah, and just comments that people would make, and it would really hit me, you know, then as well. And yeah, I think that, I also developed a lot of shame around my music at one point.
Because it's like a vulnerable space, or it's just like very personal. Or, yeah, how would you articulate that?
I mean, I was in a relationship that, yeah, I think wasn't very supportive of my music, and I developed quite a bit of shame. And while I was still doing music, it was in a different way to what I'm doing it now, and I didn't have, yeah, it kind of, yeah, I think that kind of stunted me in a way, but I feel like I also needed that experience, you know, to not only like understand my music, but who I am and what I've also gone through in my life. And that's such a point of inspiration for me, is understanding the places that I've come from, you know. And I love doing lots of self-reflection, and you hear that in my music as well. Yeah, that, you know, grief and joy and love, all these things, these facets of life all inspire me, from the tangible to the non-tangible, you know, from natural elements to not. And yeah,
Yeah, I think, you know, having to overcome something really helps shape you, right?
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, people can encourage you to do your thing, and that might be a huge source of motivation or inspiration, but then also somebody close to you can not be completely supportive, and that can sometimes be the biggest hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. 100%.
So I guess, yeah, when you're a kid, I think a lot of people are super forgiving over whatever you're doing, so you probably don't come across that so much. But once you start becoming a young adult or teenager or whatever it is, and then you're close to somebody and they're not on board with whatever the passion or the pursuit is, yeah, if that's not reconciled, then that can be pretty rough. And sometimes you just got to let people go, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Sit them down the river, you know? Yeah. Don't even have to give them a paddle sometimes. Just let them sink.
Sink.
Oh. God, revenge can be sweet.
Maybe they'll drown.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Okay, so when it comes to these, you mentioned some different approaches to music that you're taking now, or that's like part of your mindset. I'm so curious as to like, you know, some of the approaches or practices or thoughts you have with your approach at the moment.
Yeah. Sometimes I will hear a song in my head. So I'll hear like the melody, or I'll just hear, or I'll hear lyrics.
Yeah.
Lyrics and a melody, or just a melody. And then depending on the vibe of that, I'll either write lyrics or I'll have the lyric. Sometimes they've just formed already, you know?
Without having to push or kind of do much, they just kind of come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then I'll write them down, and then sometimes I'll go to YouTube for a backing track to try and.
Amen.
Yeah, what's
Yes.
up? That's what I'm saying.
Let me run this. Let me run the
YOLO.
simulation for a second. Yeah.
That's it. So sometimes I'll go to YouTube for a backing track, to just like get the inspiration out like further. Yeah, and sometimes I'll ask someone to lay something down for me. Sometimes I'll write the whole song, knowing what I want, how I want it to sound, and then I'll perfect it like with instrumentals or whatnot. I've been experimenting with the piano. I forgot that I played keys when I was younger.
Oh,
and we got a like beautiful piano in our house now, and I've just been having days where I'll just be on the piano for like an hour making songs up. I made like 5 songs the other day.
Wow. That's nice
incredible.
when you got the right tool instrument there just to fucking mess around with. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been using Splice. I've been like mixing and, making some beats and
yeah. Splice is,
copy-pasting.
correct me if I'm wrong, is that where you can kind of generate some samples and bits and pieces? But
Yeah.
I guess there's also some light DAW, like editing stuff in there as well?
Yeah.
Or? Yeah. Cool. What is your relationship with technology in the production and stuff? Like, are you kind of, did it take a little while to, get with it and kind of embrace it, or was it kind of always there for you?
Honestly, like looking at Logic
Yeah.
and looking at all the lines, I'm like, I do not want to.
By lines, you mean channels?
The channels, correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like, oh nah. My brain was like, nah, I want someone else to do this for me. But I know I just need to like take the time to do it, because I know that's actually, I want to be able to do that. And technology, like even though it's like such a helpful source, does my head in most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's so temperamental. It's impossible to like completely depend on. It has this own kind of mind to it. It's quite bizarre, hey?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting medium, I think.
Yeah.
It's a necessity, I guess, in this day and age, and how music is, and I mean so many other things, art and communication, like it's become a very, needed thing, I guess, in a way.
It's completely embedded in everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for it. I'm very grateful for it. But yeah,
You still kind of wrestle with it. Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty common experience, especially for somebody who wants to like utilize it in a way that serves your creative purpose. Because I think like it's one thing to figure out what works for you in terms of getting a song down, but to properly kind of use it. For me, I've always found that having nerd tech friends around has helped me so much. Otherwise, there would have been such a distance that you'd have to kind of like
very true.
bridge. So, has there been any kind of techno wizards or sorcerers in your life that have kind of helped you out on that side? Yeah, let's talk about it.
So my housemate, who I'm also in a band with, my band Mojo Bag.
Hey,
Shameless
Mojo
promo.
Bag, nice.
Yeah. So Tino's been helping me. He produces music. He's a singer. Plays keys as well in the band. He's been helping me, which has been great.
Yeah.
And my friend Kiwat Canal.
Cool.
Incredible singer, songwriter. And yeah, he's been helping me mix, just giving me like, tips here and there, which has been amazing. I'm very, very grateful for that.
Yeah, because they just remove tens of hours of YouTube videos and shit, right?
Yeah.
And, it's one thing to kind of go through that process and learn some stuff, but I think, when you care a lot more about what's going on and you're working with the person and there's some kind of established rapport or relationship, I feel like you're going to be more sponge-worthy there.
Yeah.
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 We just got Alice on the co-producing here, just the ultimate placement. Because it's all about the perfect frame at the end of the day. What we're really trying to do is capture perfect frames, perfect little snippet, little moments. Just, it's kind of like the bristles in one's beard, There's many of them, but all of them together do provide a more complete picture. just to make that about myself, which I often do, which is just
Perfect
perfect
Love
frame.
it. I'm here for it.
Okay, cool. So you've had a lot of help on the like the technology, production, technical side. In the early days, who were some big mentors or key figures, people, you know, and they could even be like parents or whatever, that really supported and helped you, you know, kind of push you on your path a bit?
Yeah, I think my mum, I don't think I would have been even slightly aware that I had a voice if she hadn't told me to go sing in choir.
Yeah.
And then, my stepdad as well, he helped me. They both supported me, you know, bought me a whole PA system. RIP, I don't know where it is. Got lost on a protest camp somewhere when I was
Well, at least it was doing the good work, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Bless Japurong as well. I think that them, definitely, my mom and my stepdad. And I'd say from there, friends, you know. I think within the community there's people who are very supportive, which is very profound. It's a beautiful thing to witness. I think that's kind of the main essence. I think my mom and my stepdad really got me moving in that regard, you know. They bought me things, got me gigs, and like pushed me towards like competitions. Also, my singing teacher that I had, her name was Melissa. I can't remember her last name, but she did she had a school. I can't remember it for the life of me, but she ran a competition called Red Door, and like from the competition there, I started singing lessons with her, and it was just that was a great experience. She was classically trained, and I did about a year or two of that, and that helped me a lot. And then I think, you know, music artists have all inspired me in between then, you know. Yeah.
I mean, I see you as a queen of collaboration, somebody who can not only, you know, collaborate with other people, but can do that on the fly, you know. You know, talking about like moments at Shot Kickers or whatever else, like you seem to be somebody who's very good with the improv and collaboration side of things. Did that always come naturally to you, or was that something where initially you were like, you know what, I want to do this on my own, but then some, you know, things happened and you were a bit more willing to contribute with others or work with others?
I think I've always kind of been a people person.
Yeah, nice.
That's always been like a quality of mine.
Yeah.
I think that as I've grown in my music, my improv has grown as well, and like being able to freestyle, whether melodically or in hip hop. Yeah.
Which she does incredibly well on both. Really holds it down on the mic.
And I'm still learning and evolving, and it's so great to have platforms like Don't Sweat the Technique to, you know, explore. Realistically, that place has been a foundation for me to explore that. I feel like I've done a lot of my development in hip hop through that event alone, you know? Yeah,
well, that's interesting because I would have, my assumption was that you were already kind of versed or comfortable in that space before that. And maybe you were, but it sounds like that's, you know, Don't Sweat the Technique has really kind of given you the platform to fucking get a bit of a boost and really get your hands dirty.
Yeah, it's elevated me, you know, it's created like, gotten rid of a lot of like, I don't know if you want to call it like baggage or just like unnecessary things that, or
mental
fear,
chatter,
you know? Not that I had too much of that, but it's more like, you know, that fear of like not knowing if you can do something. And I just get up there and I just don't care. And I guess that's kind of me anyway, but pushing myself to do that has been a whole nother experience. So I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah. Well, it's courageous. Like, even if you're good at a thing to, do it, you know.
True. Very, very true, yeah.
To do it in that context where it's like not only like live on the fly, but, you know, I think we both respect a lot of the people that go into that space. And, you know, there's such quality people and talent in the space that you kind of want to serve that in some way, right?
100%. Yeah, definitely.
Shout out Shot Kickers.
Yeah, Timmy the
B.
Anthony Murray, we've got Matt Robb, Jake Amy on keys, Liam the bass man, Mickey from Preston occasionally. Martin Pang, I think it is, and yeah, whoever else rolls through there, all the MCs as well, incredible.
Yeah, the list is always growing, and it's cool because there's new faces all the time. Yeah, I think that's a really cool element of Melbourne is, you know, some of these nights that not everyone knows about, but that do happen. And for somebody who considers themselves to be like a developing artist, if you wanted to put that like, you know, label on it, it's such a good space. Like, where else would you be able to get all of these different opportunities of growth, whether it's like through networking or stage presence or improv or all of that? It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
What else is really excites or interests you about the scene at the moment, like here in Melbourne? What else is really cooking and vibing for you?
Yeah, I think the collaboration is a very exciting element. I'm really excited to start recording some of my own personal music.
Which is well overdue.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. But that's why we're here, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. I'm going to focus on that in the coming months, and just collaborating with like different producers and getting that like vision and the concept and sound that I want out. But yeah, working with other people. I want to do more like group work as well, kind of like I did on the night where last night that I hosted at Shot Kickers.
Yes.
Where it was a medley of like 16 women, and like, yo, that shit was fucking profound. Beep, sorry if you have to bloop me out.
No, we actually encourage profanity on this podcast.
Yeah.
Just not on the first 8 to 10 seconds. That's the only, as we all know.
We're way past that.
Shout out you too. Is there any names that you want to drop in terms of people you're collaborating with at the moment?
At the moment?
Yeah.
No.
You can keep them on the DL.
Yeah. But I'm going to actually talk to Mickey from Preston, the legend. BTW, we share a birthday.
Oh.
Twins. Literally Gemini twins.
Jeez, can't be stopped.
That's what I'm saying. Two very loud people collaborating. So yeah, I'm gonna have a little chit chat with him, and because I don't know, I just feel like I want to work with him, and like I know he'll
funky stuff
be able
happening.
to help me out, in the way that I want. So bless up to Mickey.
Hey, fucking shout out to Mickey.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
When it comes to the kind of stuff you want to work on at the moment, like the music, do you have any like anything theme wise or idea wise that obviously no spoilers or anything, but like what kind of messages are you looking to shoot out into the multiverse at the moment?
Okay, boss.
You are the intergalactic,
Yeah, say
bitch.
it. Yeah, so I think the things that inspire me in my music, things that, I think recently have really inspired me is my grief. I had times where, I think it was in 2022. I can't remember. I'm a bit blurry with the years, but it wasn't last year. It was the year before. So 2022.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had someone pass away that I was close to. We'd been seeing each other and had some ends not kind of tied up. And there was a time where I was just... I wasn't singing for weeks, and sometimes I might get into periods of that when I'm like really exhausted or something might be going on, and I'm, and then I'll think there's a moment that clicks and I'm like, I'm not singing. And through my grief, I've been able to, when I'm just like ruthlessly honest with how I'm feeling, no matter the weight, that's been such a medium for me to just like, explore my feelings and my truth. And the things that come from that place are so profound. And, I remember just sitting there and I felt like my grief was just like never gonna move, like the sadness of like that loss and all the things that come with it, And I remember just being like, I need to write. I just need to write and I need to sing. And so I literally put up a backing track and I put something on and then I started writing down exactly how I was feeling. And that was it. I literally felt the grief like lift off me.
Wow.
You know, and so music has been such a healing medium for me in that. And so I would say that grief is one of the things that influences my music and is a theme. And beyond that, I have other elements such as love, you know, or romance that comes into the picture. And then a big part of things as well is I guess spirituality or the essence of life.
Yeah.
And that's a really big thing for me. And messages that I want to ignite or like send to people is self-reflection.
Yeah.
It's accountability. Healing. It's the mystery. You know, it's wonder. And just laying things out on the table, whatever it is, you know?
Yeah. Laying the cards out on the table, letting them all see it.
Yeah.
And that's it's tough to do, you know, like that's quite something, especially when it's something as profound as dealing with grief, which is, you know, it's a universal, it's something that everyone, you know, experiences in a different way, but also somewhat in a similar way.
Yeah.
And one of the hardest things to talk about as a human, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
Because I mean, you know, when I look to write songs and stuff, I'm very rarely touching both love or grief. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Because you know, I feel like there's a certain weight behind that topic, and you probably want to feel equipped to do it justice, I guess.
Very true. Yeah. Understandably. Yeah, I think that for me, just being able to get it out, that, you know, whether it's like I'm feeling lonely or I'm feeling shameful or I'm feeling like this won't ever change, you know? It just simplifies it and gets rid of that baggage when you can just be like, okay, this is the point of how I'm feeling. And then it also creates like this self-reflection for myself. Sometimes I write and I surprise myself. Like this one time I was by the river in Abbotsford and I put on another YouTube backing track. And I was like, I just need to inspire myself. And I started just like singing along to the backing track, and all of a sudden these words came out of my mouth, and it was, I keep on running to places I can't hide no more. I keep on searching, got to go inside, walk through the door to find my peace of heart and mind. And I stopped and I was like, bitch, oh my God. Like you are talking to yourself. Because it was just something that like came through, like up and through me. And I was like, shit. Yeah, I've been fucking doing that.
That's a whole different level of self-awareness. It's like being able to articulate in like a meaningful way something back to yourself is crazy.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll just be writing as well, and then I'll start typing like or whatever. If I'm writing, like I'll start saying things that I'm like, oh fuck, that's what that is, or that's what that was, you know. And then there are other times where I go in with the picture painted, or like I'll start revising and analyzing the things that I've put out, and I'm like, oh okay, and I move through it as I'm changing the song as well, you know. It's like it's a whole emotional experience for me. And something I've tried to explain to people before as well is that music is a spiritual and a very emotional thing for me. It's a soulful experience. No matter if I'm writing hip hop or soul or R&B, whatever it is, you know, it's I'm with it, like, and I'm moving with that.
Yeah, and you understand the power of you being able to move that to other people as well, and like how they feed off that and receive that, and you know, especially when you're talking about very vulnerable stuff or, you know, deeper introspective stuff. When you do that and vocalize that to other people, it kind of gives us permission to kind of, you know, dip into that space, right?
That's right. Yeah. Very true.
Is that something that that you keep in mind, or is just like a byproduct of what was going to happen regardless?
Yeah, I think purely like I'm doing it, you know, for myself first.
Yeah.
And then it's knowing that it will touch people is another beautiful thing, and then seeing it touch people is a whole nother thing. You know, it's like yeah.
If you want to do a brief comparison between the experience of getting like a song to a point where you can connect and kind of do it on your own, and then like the presentation of that to an audience, like performing it, like what are those two different, are they similar mindset energy spaces, or what's happening between them?
Yeah, they can be similar. Probably a little bit different but once the song's complete, it's the same, you know.
Interesting.
It's like, it just being in that feeling, you know. My song Heaven, I don't know if you were there that night where I hosted with the medley, but there was a song.
That was the last night of the month?
I did a song Heaven, the first song.
Yeah.
And that was one of the songs where I heard that in my head. I had the first whole verse and chorus sung out in my head, and putting it down was one thing. And then I got Tino, the keys player, I got him to put some keys down because I was like, I need to finish this song. And I wrote it very quickly. And I think within like half an hour, I think I'd wrote that song or something. And that song really like touched, you know, on this like, this very deep place. And I think the first time I ever sung that, I was in tears. I was like bawling my eyes out.
Wow.
And that was at Bar Sue. I played that for the first time as a little solo set with, I think Tyler was, it was me and Tyler playing Tyler Moonchild, for those who don't know.
Tyler Moonchild.
Babes. We did a set together, and on my set, I sung that and I was in tears. But the feeling of it was still so great. And it was the same with that night at Shot Kickers, and even other songs, you know. It's like when the song is complete, that feeling, that like whole feeling is like still there and remains. And it's like the writing process is refining it all and like putting the puzzle pieces together.
Making it finite. Like,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it made perfect sense. It's such a hard thing to do, to like tie up a track, to like finish up a track, because you know, I guess like when you're in the moment putting it together, you're not necessarily always thinking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you're just kind of like feeling it out in the moment. And maybe some people do a bit of like working from the back to the front, you know, from like this end vision or goal, and then trying to pull it back to the start and how to get there.
Yeah,
but I think that, you know, a lot of us just kind of feel our ways through.
Yeah, I mean, I went a very long time not completing songs.
Yeah.
I went years not completing songs.
Every day.
Yeah.
Do it all the fucking time. It's a real problem. Yeah.
I feel like there's like a muscle that's like being worked in me now, where I feel like, I don't know, I'm just able to like get it out a bit easier. And the refining process is its own thing as well.
Yeah. But it does take a little while to get to that point where you can understand what like the loop of a project is.
Yep.
And kind of having some kind of, you know, you don't want to tie everything to your expectations, but having some kind of loose idea of like, you know what, that is in the ballpark or realm of what I want to hit.
Yeah.
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 Nice. When it comes to God and or gods, you know, like what are we talking about? Are we in the park of the single God? Are we in the park of the multiple gods? Are we in the park of you know, an energy that, you know, connects to everything? What are the thoughts and reflections? I've never really dived into this with anyone else on the podcast.
Let's go.
But I feel like you're well equipped to throw some haymakers. You know,
saddle up, people.
Shout out to Saddle Club, great show back in the day.
Get your tin foil hats on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Just casually getting a bit of a beer from Boss Man over here.
Just casually getting a beer.
Casually getting a...
That's a bit.
God. Do you believe in God?
I feel like right now I'm closer than before. Mm-hmm. You know, I was baptized Catholic, went to church, you know, when we were younger, but it wasn't really like, you know, the most serious of things. Went to a Christian school, It wasn't like a big deal, but yeah, it seemed like being an atheist was really the ticket. It seemed like that was the cool thing that was in.
Yeah,
That's what was
edgy.
happening. I'm edgy. I don't believe in anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Wow.
I feel like my kind of mindset or perspective at the moment is because so many different cultures and groups of people have been able to articulate something in the realm of something other than us on a higher level or whatever it is, that I don't necessarily believe in any one of them, but it has to speak to something, right? So that's my reflection.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't have all the answers.
Hey, we're just here to talk about it.
We're just here to talk about God. But yeah, in my experience, I think that someone who comes from a bicultural background and also has seen things that maybe a lot of other people haven't, and experienced things that I mean, actually, a lot of people have experienced things. It's not always a common thing to talk about, and I
Right.
think that there are also very subtle
Indicators.
experiences
Yeah,
that
yeah.
people have too that maybe they're not sure of, and it's as I said, a bit taboo, you know.
Right. They'd probably be happy to write it off as something else.
Yeah, that's right.
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
You know, whatever else it could be, I guess.
Yeah, inexplainable things and whatnot. For me, I've grown up since I was young, since I was very little, seeing spirits, having a multitude of different experiences with different things, and that comes in from my family. It's in my bloodline.
So there was a bit of an open conversation around that with you and your parents when you were experiencing that? Or it just wasn't like, it was just in the realm of reason?
I mean, yeah, it wasn't really heavily embraced.
Yeah.
I think I've had to embrace it more so on my own. Particularly, I didn't grow up with my family on either side.
Yeah.
But my mum was always very open, but just wasn't able to really embrace it in a way, you know, based on her own circumstances and stuff.
Right.
But always been very spirited people, and she's experienced things in her life, from spirits to from when she was young to being older, even with me around.
Yeah.
Till this day as well, and that runs through my whole mum's bloodline, and also on my dad's side as well. He's told me stories where he's experienced things, and from what he's told me, we've got the native blood from South America as well, in Argentina. Mum's bloodline, we've got Scottish, Irish, Jamaican, and then the last few years we found out that we had Aboriginal heritage, but I'm not too I've kind of stood back from that because I'm not too sure exactly the gravity of it, and
Sure.
I want to be I want to be respectful of that space, you know. So
of course.
there's a lot going on. And my great grandmother, she used to practice through the Jamaican heritage, some of the traditional things. She was very psychic, and so I've inherited things on both sides of my family. And all these things have made up who I am, and also influenced my music. I want to create a whole album that talks on my experiences, my very abnormal experiences.
Cool.
So I think that, going back to the subject of God, I think that God is a multitude of things. I think there are multiple gods. I do think there is an essence that runs through all things and all beings. I've tried to pay respects to every element of the places that I come from. I also grew up going to a Christian school, I think, or a Catholic school.
It was probably Christian if you didn't know what it was.
Probably. It's called St. Luke's.
Oh, that could be.
Maybe Catholic? Yeah, I don't know. But my favorite element from that I loved and I have taken with me through my life is prayer. That has been a really big influence on me.
Yeah.
Prayer has been a very big thing. And prayer is something that I bring into my music as well.
So do you want to talk us through how you kind of engage with prayer and in the music process?
Yeah. So I might have an intention or something set that I want to touch on,
Yeah.
or that I want to be held. In one of my songs with my band, or even in heaven, the song is like, pour the water over me, help me find release. And in one of the bridges, it's what is it? It's rid my soul of stagnation, lead me away from temptation, rid my soul of stagnation, and the evil in my life, restore my faith and mind. I'm a fine mind when I heed the call. I hear them calling me. So it goes into a prayer, into like this statement. But these are elements that, I love to bring in, to sing through prayer.
Right.
Is such a powerful, powerful thing.
I mean, I certainly haven't done it. Well, look, I was in the choir at school when I was in year 5 and 6. So, sung a little bit at church or whatever when I was super young. But I can understand, the like, it's like a volume of feeling. Like it's just more than what you would normally kind of feel or access. And sometimes even if you're just in a church or a sacred space, you can kind of feel that on its own without any other kind of like push or anything. But if you're, the kind of vessel that's belting, the prayer, I feel like that's something that's supposed to be so visceral and like kind of energetic.
Very energetic. Yeah. To sound, to create a tone and a sound, and to feel it come from a certain place, because the sound can come from different places in your body and in your emotional space. So being able to articulate that to hit a certain place outside of you and to feel it is a very, I don't even know what the word might be, but it's
kind of like map work for your soul, like it's I guess a lot of these songs or hymns, right? Or whatever it may be, whatever the format is, but it's kind of like this thing that's been mapped out that will like engage with, parts of you,
Yeah.
That's kind of wild. And for me, like, I'm a little bit outside of that circle, but, I've got nothing but like respect and appreciation for that circle, because I mean, it's the kind of thing that's been moving humans forward for tens of thousands of years.
That's exactly right.
It was the thing that was always connecting, gelling, infusing us with meaning and motion and all that kind of stuff.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Music, and so often has been used in prayer, in healing, in joy as well, and in ceremony. Yeah. And I think it's a very important element to bring in. And realistically, when we're speaking and we're saying, we're affirming, and we are like praying into the world via what we say. If I keep saying I'm shit, or I'm just like I keep blurting that out, and that's like I'm gonna see all of that around me in different ways.
It's a bad mantra.
It's a bad mantra. That's what I'm saying. Yes, boss.
That's cool. I really appreciate you sharing with it. And like, it wasn't sharing that with us. And, I haven't really like dived into, the God talk. The God or God's talk on the podcast. But I think it is something interesting because, a lot of artists are channeling something from somewhere.
That's right.
And like, what they understand that to be is, different for most people. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and there are people who will see sound. There are people who taste sound. Right. There are people, who experience it in all different ways, you know, and everyone experiences it in their own way. Yeah. And for their own reasons. And, it's a beautiful thing. Sound... what I like to say is that most of us have been gifted with a voice, and we have the capacity to sound out. And it comes into like this thing of just being able to vocalize who you are and what you are into the world. And it's a powerful thing because our voice is our essence.
Yeah. spelling, it's all there. Like words can absolutely be used as magic. You know, it's you can use, well, we have used words and language to do everything.
That's
you know?
right.
It's kind of incredible to not give it, you know, the respect that it deserves, and to kind of think that, you know, what you say doesn't really matter. But even if you're just having a conversation with yourself, you know, that inner dialogue obviously has an incredible impact on who we are.
That's right, 100%. And sound is one of our main senses, you know, and you can feel when someone's talking, how they make you feel. You can hear, like, when it's quiet and a sound happens, how that moves through your body, you know?
Right.
And it's like sound impacts us, and we have to know that our sound is impactful as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that there is absolutely, I think you're right. Like, there's such a big relationship between, like, your sound and the space that you're in.
Yeah.
Right? Cool. Keeping all this kind of stuff in mind at the moment, is there anything that you practice? I guess prayer is one of those things that you kind of practice daily or weekly to keep you grounded.
Daily. I think breath has been a very important thing for me.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling like really anxious, or if I feel like my mind might be going somewhere, or even if I'm feeling unwell. Yeah. Breath has been a very vital thing for me. Just breathing deeply. And breathing into myself, also imagining, my breath circulating through me, and down through the ground and up and out has been a very powerful thing, and like circulating that back through me. Yeah,
that sounds like an incredible, I mean, because at school you're never really going to get probably taught about breath work unless you're in a choir, you know?
Yeah.
So I think there's really cool grounding meditations or practices that you can do that can kind of like pull you out of that, you know, that headspace which is full of chatter, or like, you know, tightness in the chest out of anxiety or whatever it is. And I really like that articulation of being able to imagine like the flow of breath going from, you know, top to the ground all the way around, and because that, you know, essentially kind of locks it anchors you, right?
It does, yeah. And I mean, your breath is something that you'll have until you die. Yeah. So that is like, it's part of your like soul, your spirit essence, you know, if you want to look at it in that way, in that element. So when you breathe, and you can breathe like awareness into your body, you know, and out, whatever it is, you know, sometimes I imagine water, sometimes I imagine just light, sometimes I imagine just like, you know, maybe a loving energy, or calmness, maybe it's a color or a feeling that I'm trying to invoke. I breathe that into myself. Yeah.
Cool. I would have never guessed the color thing, but that seems like quite rational.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, this is a very energetic logo. You know, you stare at it too long and you might be a little bit amped, you know, even though we do love Brick Lane.
Yes.
Shout out to Brick Lane. Brick Lane. One day we'll go far together. You know.
Yes.
All right, well, I feel like you've given us this wealth, this bounty of knowledge and sharing. What's kind of happening in the not too distant future for yourself, aside from like the projects and collaborations? Do you have any gigs or anything that we should keep our eyes out?
Yeah, I've got a gig on the 28th, I think, at Barusu with my band.
Perfect.
Mojo Bag.
Mojo Bag.
Mojo Bag Music on Instagram. Find us there.
Cool.
28th, and then I think on the 25th, I'm doing something at, I think it's Radio Bar with Toomey.
Oh, yeah, great.
And then...
Yeah, because he's been putting on those nights on Thursdays. Is that their night?
Yeah, at
the
Radio
underground
Bar?
radio. Yeah, nice.
Yo,
do that. Let's do that.
Yes.
I like that.
So I think I'll be doing some originals there.
Cool.
And then I do have, because I was sick like last month, I was sick for a long time. I got like bad bronchitis. It was fucked up. My family gets it hereditary and like very severely,
Oh,
so
cool.
it knocked me out.
Spirits and bronchitis.
Yeah, what's up?
Love that.
Yeah.
I'm wheezing on spirits here.
Shit, dog.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a gig with Vibe Union, I think in February.
Project
in the-
Legacy.
Yeah.
Sick.
In the teens of the month. So
The teens of the month.
the teens of the month.
You don't hear that one too often.
Yeah.
I like that. Cool.
Yeah.
So, Project Legacy at 30 Dirk sometime in February. Uso 28th.
With the band,
The band
Mojo Bag.
Mojo Bag.
And then Radio Bar, I think on the 25th with
Sick.
Timmy.
Cool. So, yeah, I guess you're mainly on Instagram at the moment before you pump some other bits and pieces on.
Yes, sir.
But you do have some cool clips on Instagram, so it's not there's something happening.
There's one cool clip.
There's one good clip.
Actually, there's like what are those highlights? I've done
Reels?
highlights. Yeah.
Oh, no, a couple highlights.
Yeah, I've done some highlights.
You got to put up some
Check it
short
out.
clips. It's important.
It is important,
Yeah.
but technology, you know what I'm saying?
There's resistance.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I'm high up there, but not like,
Right.
Yeah.
We don't get grounded with tech,
Yeah.
even though you should probably make sure that a lot of electricity is ground. Anyway, moving right on. No more AV tech terms.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on today with Grounded. I really appreciate you sharing and opening up and coming on board.
Yeah, thank you.
Any final words for the people or the beings of the multiverse? Whoever you want to talk to, this is direct patch in.
Yeah, I think the important thing is to know whether it's music or art or whatever your passion is, and that ignites your heart and your whole being, that makes you feel good, and not only what comes naturally, but what you're good at, and those things that make you feel good. Tap into that, follow that, and fuck what the people say.
I love that.
Fuck what the people say. Do it if it feels good. Don't be an asshole, but you know what I'm saying?
Follow yourself and fuck what the people say. But make some alliances along the way. also.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Big ups. Enjoy, stay grounded. We've got the Spotify playlist, which we add tracks from artists. Once you got something up, we'll throw it in there. But there's a couple cool tracks on the Grounded Tunes playlist. But aside from that, plenty of podcasts to watch, plenty of clips to eat, and stay grounded. See you later.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.